Hey everybody, welcome back to another day of music history. Last week we looked at Edvard, Grieg. And which country was he from? Norway. So that was the Scandinavian region and that was in the Romantic era. But now we're going to go to, so far we've done a couple of eras. We've done the Renaissance, we've done the Baroque, we've done the Classical, we've done the Romantic. But we haven't yet touched upon the 20th century. So welcome to the 20th century. That was just about 20 years ago. Even though we're in the 21st century, it's not too far away from us. And we're going to take a deeper look at it. So just a brief history before we get into it. The 20th century involved a lot of different subgenres. So like the same way if you have hip-hop, you have hip-hop and rap, you have trap, you have hip-hop and electronic music and so on. So the 20th century brought a lot of subgenres and they were completely different from one another. And the person we're going to look at today, I think he falls within the modern, that was a subgenre. So you had like Impressionism and you had Modernism. I think he falls within Modernism. But he still had quite a bit of influence from the Romantic side, and you would be able to hear it if you've been paying attention to all the Romantic pieces we've been doing. But he does have a bit of an influence from it. So his name is Ralph Vaughan Williams. And don't be an American and say Ralph. You want to say Rafe. So Rafe rhymes with safe for some apparent reason. But when you go to America, the Americans butchered it and it became Rolf. Just the same way when we gave them the word color, they started spelling it without the U. So Rafe rhymes with safe, Vaughan Williams. He was a 20th century composer, and as Edvard Grieg was in Norway, he was all the way down in England. And thus his story begins. Notice he has two last names, and two last names was usually a sign of wealth and being very fancy, part of the aristocratic society, which was the wealthy society of England. So, just a little background, he was actually related to Charles Darwin. As some of you guys know, he was the person who came up with the theory of evolution. And he was related to Josiah Wedgwood, a founder of the Fancy China Company. Go search on it, but it was a big deal. So he was in a very lavish lifestyle. He didn't have to work much because everything was already there because of his wealth. Edvard, just like Edvard, he was very much fascinated with the local melodies and the folk melodies of his country. Edvard took a lot of those melodies from Norway and he made them into the pieces that made him famous. And the same thing for Rafe. He took the pieces of long time ago England, so all the way back to the Renaissance, and he reimagined them with a word we're going to use called Fantasia. You've seen that word multiple times. Even if you watch Disney movies, you've seen Fantasia 2000 or Fantasia something. So what is a Fantasia? It is when you take an old melody or a melody that has already been used and you kind of reinterpret it. You use it and you put your own little spice on it. And he took the melody of a famous Renaissance composer that we once looked at. His name was Thomas Tallis. I hope that rings a few bells for you guys. He took Thomas Tallis's melody. I'm not too sure what it was called, but the piece that he made up of it is called Fantasia on a Theme. So he reimagined Thomas Tallis's melody and put his own little spice on it. He received this on his first major commission. After he went to the Royal College of Music in London, he began his musical career, and he was given a significant job to do, where he had to put the music together of the 1906 edition of the English hymnal. So hymnal, you guys know, that's just a collection of hymns. But this was kind of ironic because he wasn't a Christian, he wasn't necessarily a believer, he was actually an agnostic. What is an agnostic? It's someone who doesn't really care much about whether God is real or God is not. He likes to say, I don't know whether God is real or God is not, but he doesn't really care. So that's what an agnostic is. Anyway, regardless, he went on with his task and he composed this British musical hymnody, and Fantasia on a Theme by Thomas Tallis was created. So, go and listen to it. Don't listen to all the pieces because all the pieces were don't listen to the entire length of the pieces because they're very long. So just listen to about the first 3 or 4 minutes. And then I will meet you back and we'll see how his very comfortable life was slightly interrupted.